There's a reason visiting Alaska's national parks is a life dream for so many people. More than half of the national parkland in the U.S. is in Alaska, and these are some of the last great wild places left on the planet. We have 8 national parks, and some of them are easy to get to. I'm going to tell you how you can make them yours. First, Denali. This is a park the size of Massachusetts with a single 90-mile road through it. Because that road is closed to private vehicles, Denali remains a true wilderness. You can take a bus tour and see the wildlife Alaska is famous for, right from the park road. You'll also have a good chance to see Denali, the highest mountain in North America, and a 50-mile-long wall of peaks higher than any in the lower 48 states. If Denali is the best of land, Kenai Fjords is the best of sea. A day cruise brings you face-to-face with towering tidewater glaciers, stunning coastal scenery, and marine wildlife. Most of the park's glaciers spill out into the ocean, but there's one you can walk right up to, Exit Glacier. It's only a 2-hour drive or 4-hour scenic train ride from Anchorage to Seward, the gateway to the park. Wrangell-St. Elias is also on the road system, but you'd never feel that way once you get there. It's vast and wild, the biggest park in North America, and the 8-hour journey through 3 different mountain ranges to get there is part of the experience. When you arrive, you'll feel like you've gone back in time. You can explore Alaska's most famous ghost town, walk on a glacier, and raft glacial rivers. From the air, you can see the greatest collection of peaks over 16,000 feet in North America. Glacier Bay is a park the size of Connecticut with over 1,000 glaciers. 500,000 people pass through it on a cruise every summer. A more intimate way to experience the park is on a small ship cruise, where you explore secluded bays, kayak past sea otters, and go ashore for nature walks. If you don't want to cruise, you can fly into the tiny town of Gustavus, stay in a small lodge, and take a boat tour into the park for the afternoon. Katmai is most famous for its bear viewing. Brooks Falls, where dozens of bears converge to feast on salmon, is probably the most photographed bear viewing spot in the world. But this is also the land of the Ring of Fire. You can walk through the ash-covered Valley of 10,000 Smokes, left behind 100 years ago by the most powerful volcanic blast of the 20th century, or land on a crystal-clear lake filling an ancient caldera. You can look across the water from Anchorage and see Lake Clark National Park, yet it remains one of the least visited parks in the country. Lake Clark is a secret coastline where you can see bears ambling across wide open beaches, digging for clams, and foraging in the sedge grass with no one else around. Lake Clark is also a backpacker's dream because the terrain is so easy. You can walk for days across high tundra surrounded by mountains and turquoise lakes. Gates of the Arctic is an 800-mile-wide roadless wilderness that lies entirely north of the Arctic Circle. Villages are still living off the land in this part of Alaska, as they have been for thousands of years. And you can fly into some of these villages for a day trip. Or you can spend days rafting wild rivers that meander through glacier-carved valleys, or backpack along age-old caribou trails under endless summer nights. 100 miles further west is the least visited national park in Alaska, Kobuk Valley. There are no lodges, established campgrounds, or trails. The park was created to preserve the 100-foot-high Great Kobuk Sand Dunes and historic caribou migration routes. If you just want your national park stamp, you can take an air taxi in for the day. Now you can see why Alaska's national parks inspire such awe and why they're a bucket list item. But don't expect to see them all in one trip. You can visit just Denali and Kenai Fjords and see everything that you came to Alaska for: wildlife, towering mountains, glaciers, and vast untouched landscapes. Once you do, we know you'll be making plans to come back and see the rest.